Today I'm going to be using the Mini4 Pro with the DJI Goggles 3. So I'm going to show you how you get these things connected, and then we're going to see just what the flight experience is like and whether you actually need to get something like the Avata 2 or if you can get away with just having the Mini4 Pro and adding on the Goggles 3. So we're going to get everything set up, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you get all this stuff connected. So let's get into it. Okay, so to start off, we're going to need to use the Goggles 3, so we're going to want to power these on. Then we want to enter the menu system, and then we want to click on status. And then in the top right, you'll see it just says switch there. What that's going to do is take you into the menu system, and you're going to pick which drone you want to be using. So in this instance, I'm going to go down and select Mini4 Pro. Then I'm going to click confirm, and that basically tells the goggles we're now in Mini4 Pro mode. So then we're going to plug the goggles into our phone with the DJI Fly app via a cable. Then we're going to open the Fly app and then click on connection guide. Then what you want to click here is the same thing. You want to select Mini4 Pro, and then it's going to take you through the process of connecting the drone. So if this is the first time that you've tried to connect it, the chances are it's going to say unable to connect. You just want to click on that at the bottom. Then you need to put the Mini4 Pro into pairing mode. So you press and hold the power button for 4 seconds. That's going to put it into binding mode. Then you just do the same thing. You click pair on the Fly app, and that's going to put the goggles into pairing mode, and then these two should connect. Once they're connected, it's going to flash up on the screen asking you what controller you want to use. I already have the motion controller turned on here, so it selects the motion controller for me. Then it comes up with a little message just saying to check the propellers and things. I'm going to click check complete, and then basically we're done. Now it's going to ask me if I want to change the bound device. In this situation, because I'm just going to be using the Mini4 Pro briefly with the goggles, I'm not going to change the bound device. But if you've just got these goggles solely for use with the Mini4 Pro, then you can bind these two devices together. Now there is also another way that you can connect these guys when you're using the RC2 controller, and I'm going to show you that a bit later on. But first up, we're going to get this thing powered on, and we're going to try it out with the motion controller. So let's see how we go. Okay, everything is now connected and we're powered on. Now something you need to bear in mind is you are going to have a slightly limited menu system when you're using the Goggles 3 versus using something like the RC2. So, and also you're going to be locked into a 60 frames a second shooting mode at the moment. There might be an update later on which means you can change that, but at the moment we're limited to 4K 60 or 1080p 60. Now you can change a lot of your camera settings and stuff like that and your sort of safety settings, but you're not going to have as an extensive a menu as you do on your handheld controller. So everything's ready to go, ready to take off. We are in FPV mode, and we're going to use the motion controller. I'm just going to fly out and have a bit of a play, and we're going to see what it feels like. So yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, right, so we're ready to go. I think we're also restricted to just normal or sport mode when using this too. I have flown this once before, so this isn't the first time I've flown it, but we're going to get more of my my thoughts. So let's double tap to take off. Motors are starting. Press and hold, and we should take off. There we go. Oh my God, we're in the air. There we go, there's me. Hello. We're already recording. We're in normal mode, and let's just, whoa, it's pretty windy today. Let's just start flying and see how she does. Yeah, it's extremely windy. Look, we're barely moving. But we are in FPV mode, so we can see as we roll, the image also rolls like it does with the Avata in an FPV drone. It's much slower though. That is probably because of that wind too. Let me flick us into sport mode. We have to stop. Sport mode enabled, and now we can move a bit faster. Yeah, that's much better now. So there we go, we're flying around. There's a bit of bobble there from the wind and stuff, but also the Mini4 Pro does tend to bobble a little bit like that in strong wind environments. So let's turn it around a bit. Oh my God. Okay, let's do a bit of FPV flying and see what it feels like. Now something you notice straight away is the field of view is much narrower because it's only, I think it's 87 degrees versus like 150 or something with the Avata 2. So we're flying around nice and easy, doing some turns and things. There's a dog in the background. So yeah, it does fly pretty much like an FPV drone. You've got a much narrower field of view. It's not quite as nimble, but you can still get quite a bit going on. So we'll take it up high, and we'll see what this is like. And something else you're also going to struggle with compared to something like the Avata 2 is your stabilization options. Because this is recording straight onto the 3-axis gimbal, there's no post-stabilization that you can do. So what you see is basically what you get. So you need to be flying as smooth as you possibly can to get those nice FPV shots. So there we go. Flying nicely over here. We see the guys getting the kite ready. Just sort of go over the tops of these trees behind me. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to flick this now into the, you can hear it there struggling in the wind. Okay, I'm going to flick this now into follow mode. Okay, so we're now off FPV mode, so we shouldn't be having any of that tilting when we're flying around. We should be in normal stabilized mode. See what this looks like. I'm going to go again into sport because we're struggling for speed here. So yeah, now we can see it's kind of behaving how you would expect it to with your normal controller. The horizon stays level, and we're just flying around. So yeah, this is how you fly. Basically, you would do a similar thing if you're using the RC2 controller, which I'm going to use in just a second. So we can get some nice stabilized shots. Now, if you move the controller up and down a bit, you see your view is going to change. So you do have to be really, really smooth when you're using this controller. Okay, I'm going to bring it back and I'm going to change this to use the RC2. So yeah, it's been pretty good so far. So if you want to use the Goggles 3 while using this RC2 controller, it's basically a similar process, but power this controller on, power the drone on, and if you've already connected them before, it's actually going to be really simple, but if you haven't already connected them before, it's still simple. So you go onto the screen, then you press the little back arrow in the top left-hand corner, which is going to take you to the sort of DJI Fly app homepage. Then in the bottom right, you'll see a little symbol of the goggles with a connect next to it. If you click on that, it's going to take you into the goggles pairing mode, where basically you want to do the same thing, power on your goggles, connect them to the DJI Fly app, and then you'll go through the pairing process. But because I've already connected this to the goggles before with the Mini4 Pro, it basically just auto links to the goggles as soon as they turn on, and then it gives me that that goggle feed. Now on here we can see it says live view is now going through the goggles, so that's where it's going to be. So I'm going to get ready and take this guy off, and we're going to use this controller, and we'll see how that is. And yeah, we might try and chase this kite that's going up behind me. So yeah, see how we go. Okay, we're going to fly now using the RC2 controller, and we'll see what happens. So let's get ready for takeoff, push the sticks in, and let's get up in the air. There we go. Okay, so let's see, it's defaulted. Okay, it's defaulted to follow, which is the last mode I had used on this controller. So I think if you want to change this to FPV mode, you need to change that on the controller before you connect it to the goggles, and then you'll be able to fly FPV mode. So I'll bring it back and land after a little bit, but we'll try it with the follow mode first and see how it goes. Yeah, similar thing as a narrower field of view, but it still looks really nice actually through the goggles. You got full control here, you can do gimbal tilts and all kinds of stuff. So you can get some really nice cinematic footage using this. And yeah, if you've never flown FPV before, I mean, this is a pretty neat experience through the Mini4 Pro. If you've flown any kind of FPV before, this is, I mean, it's still pretty nice, but it's a bit more of a nice to have rather than a necessity, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if it's worth going out and getting the Goggles 3 on their own for. I think if you already have the Avata 2 or you're thinking about getting the Avata 2, get the whole system, and then you can try your Mini4 Pro with this goggles as well. But whether I would just go out and buy these on their own for the Mini4 Pro, I'm not sure if I would. But it's a pretty neat experience, and it's a whole new way to sort of experience your Mini4 Pro. So in that sense, I mean, I don't know. If you really want to try it out, then you can go ahead and get the goggles. But in my opinion, I would just get the Avata 2 as well as. So yeah, let's fly along here a bit. It's gone pretty dark out. There's a massive cloud just come over. But I can fix this in post-production, that's no worries. So yeah, let's try and get a nice little sort of cinematic shot here. Okay, let's try and do a bit of an orbit. Where's something we can orbit? There's a little sort of hut down here, I know. Alright, let's do a bit of an orbit. It really does make you appreciate just how good the camera on this Mini4 Pro is, because it looks stunning through the goggles. Okay, there we go, a bit of an orbit going on there. It's pretty easy to do with the goggles. Seem to be getting closer to this object, so we'll move away a bit. But nah, it's doing pretty good. Let me bring it back and change it to FPV mode, and we'll try that with this controller too. Alright, so I've gone into the controls now and changed it to FPV mode, so we'll try FPV mode using this controller too. So let's get it up in the sky and see what we can get. So motor starting and take off. Okay, now there are some cables there to be careful of and the back of my head. So let's flick it back into sports mode and let's see what we can do. There we go, FPV mode is now enabled. And we can fly around. Oh, this is actually pretty good. It definitely has that, there's a look that FPV, like fake FPV footage has with DJI. And it still definitely has that look. It looks like it's, I don't know, it's like it doesn't turn as hard as it needs to, or it turns too hard. But it's still, you can get some pretty cool looking shots with it. If you've never got any FPV style shots before, this is definitely a way to get a few kind of shots like that. But it's definitely not going to replace a full FPV drone anytime soon. Let's whoa, let's get up a bit higher and have a bit more of a play. It is good fun, don't get me wrong, but whether it's, I don't know if it's just worth getting the goggles for. Maybe it is. But you could just get the whole Avata 2 package. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Let's try a bit more of this FPV mode. You see what I mean? It doesn't quite look like it's turning properly, but yeah, it's all right. It's not too bad. It's a bit of fun. I'm not sure if I'll ever do this again, to be honest with you, because if you have an FPV drone, you will just fly FPV through these goggles. I mean, technically I'm flying FPV, but it's not an FPV drone, is it? It's the Mini4 Pro. So something else that's a bit tricky is when it comes to landing, it's quite hard to see where you're landing, because generally with this you wouldn't have goggles on, and it's, I don't know, it's a bit tricky with it being a bigger, more open prop design. It feels a bit more vulnerable. But yeah, we can still see all the metrics in the bottom, like battery, remaining flight time, signal strength, all that good stuff. But yeah, I think I'm going to bring this down. I'll do a little bit of a fly over the fields just so we can get some shots, and then I'm going to bring it down and I'm going to give you my sort of roundup thoughts about this, whether it's worth doing, whether it's a gimmick, or what the crack is. Okay, so Goggles 3 and Mini4 Pro sort of closing thoughts. Now, is it a gimmick? It's a little bit of a gimmick. I mean, it's quite interesting to do if you've never flown FPV before, but I think it's gonna get old quick, if that makes sense. And to be perfectly honest, if you got the Goggles 3, you should just get the Avata 2 kit, and then you have a proper FPV drone that you can just fly, and you do full manual mode, and it's way more exciting to do full FPV with the goggles than it is to do it with the Mini4 Pro. It still looks really nice with the screen and all that. It's a new experience. I'm not sure if it's worth going out and buying the Goggles 3 just for that, but if you don't want to learn how to fly normal FPV and you just want a new way to experience your Mini4 Pro, then I mean, go ahead. If you've got the money, why not? So that's pretty much all I've got to say about this. It was pretty interesting to try it out. I don't think I will be doing it again because I just fly way too much FPV to want to fly the Mini4 Pro as FPV, but it was a cool experiment to try out. So if you're trying to decide between getting the Mini4 Pro or getting the Avata 2, you want to go and check out this video right here where I compare both of them during a full comparison. And then if you've already got the Mini4 Pro and you want to know how to make it even more cinematic, go and check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.